Now sit back and prepare to be entertained.
I am introing this one. Hello, I'm introing this one. We're back at the Dripping Bucket. We've got Richard Shealy appropriately chained in Fletcher's basement so that we could continue talking to him. And so thank you, Richard, for sticking around against your will to chat with, word nerds. We're a bunch of word nerds here to talk about how much we like words and how much we get annoyed at other people, how they use their words. And I'm really annoyed with us because we had such great content in between episodes. So I'm trying to figure out how we can kind of revive that. But I think I don't know.
You can't recreate that kind of magic.
I know, right?
It's gone. We're just going to stare awkwardly at each other for 25 minutes and call it a day. So, Richard, you've been editing for a while.
We got it.
You've read a ton of science fiction and fantasy. You're clearly a fan of the genres. Do you write as well? Are you also an author?
I know the limits of my skill sets. I'll stay over here. Thank you very much.
I don't know if it's a skill issue. I think it's a level of masochism that you have to have. And if you're just not up there in the pro levels of masochism, then you'd never become a writer. I think that's my explanation.
Let's go with a politer way, maybe, of...
I don't know.
It takes a particular kind of drive.
Stubbornness?
To need to write.
Yes.
And that's not something that has ever really consumed me. I've had the occasional, oh yeah, that would be pretty neat to write. All right, hand it off to somebody else. That's their skill. I've done it before. When I was in high school, I got admitted to Governor's School for the Arts, doing I guess it would be a novelette over a weekend. Sent that. Within a week, I got a letter saying, you're in. They decided not to do it.
Aww.
That's another long story. But,
no. You could have been a writer were it not for their...
No, I'm not a frustrated writer. There's a long-standing image of a lot of editors as frustrated writers.
Yeah,
and
I don't...
Not me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well...
I think most writers are frustrated writers.
Welcome to publishing.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know why that image. I wonder if that image comes from people outside of the industry, because it's such a misunderstanding of how we end up in the various jobs that we are in. You know what I mean? I've talked to. Oh gosh, he wrote Silverblood Promise, and I'm totally blanking on his name. I think it's James
Join
Logan.
the club.
Yeah, I think it's James Logan. I was talking to him.
Sounds right.
Yeah, his cover is gorgeous. Jeff Brown did it. So he started as an editor, and he was in it for however many years. I think he said 10 or 15 years, and then he made the jump over to writing, and he was talking about how, even though in theory he knows how it's done, it's such a different skill set that a lot of it still took him by surprise. And I think that's the reality of it, where if there is crossover, it's an intentional thing. We don't take a consolation prize of editing because it's easier, because it's not easier. It's a different skill set. So yeah, anyway, that's my big rant on why I really hate that trope.
Being a writer in no way suggests that you will have any talent as an editor. Like if I could copy edit my own books, then I would, but I clearly can't. I can tell a story, but I can't see a typo.
The saddest thing I run into in this work is when a client gets the copy edited manuscript back. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten responses, oh my God, I don't know my own language. No, you're fine. You're fine. It takes a particular kind of nerd to do
Yeah.
this. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
You're perfectly competent at the language. We're just weird. That's all.
Yeah.
10 years
But-
later, I've been 10 years of publishing books. Every now and then when I get an edit back and I find like one page that's just
Oh,
clean.
no.
There's no
It's
edit
like-
on it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I see
Yeah,
that and I
that's-
start thinking, oh my God, what did I miss?
Yeah, that's my worry too. I always read that page 6 times looking for like surely the editor missed somewhere where I'm stupid. Like their cat meowed at them, or they went and wandered off and got a cup of coffee and came back and accidentally skipped a page.
I just
There's
happily
no way
take
I'm
the
that
win.
confident. No, I don't trust it. I don't trust winning. That's why I'm a
thinking
writer.
back on the image of the editor as a frustrated author,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna debunk that
the
some more.
persistence of that image comes from the salience principle. Where the thing that sticks out or is most
Okay.
visible is the one thing everybody remembers.
Yeah,
And
even if
you're
it's the
going
1% of
well,
100,000 people. Yeah.
think about this. Where that's going to come from is from authors who dealt with editors who are trying to rewrite,
Oh,
not just
Yeah.
fix or enhance or help, but rewrite something.
hmm
And those are going to get yelled about very loudly to a lot
Yeah.
of people for good reason, usually. And
Yeah.
that's where the whole salience principle thing comes into play. The same thing comes into play with copy editing. How many people out there have heard good copy editing stories versus how many have heard of bad horror copy editing stories?
I actually was straining to think of some of horror stories. Maybe I've been really fortunate, but I also have this theory, and I say so. I'm gonna start by apologizing to my fellow writers because this isn't necessarily my nicest side, but sometimes I do think the people that complain about edits so loudly just need to stop.
Suck it up and learn the language.
Yeah, suck it up. Suck it up. Yep, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I think there are sometimes there's a type of creative that gets really precious about how much of a genius they are, and they don't accept edits well because of that, and it gives the impression that there is an antagonistic relationship. And then there are those of us that, I don't know, enjoy the beating, I guess, and are eager to make our shitty book marginally less shitty. And I love my editors because they help me with that. They polish my turds really, really nicely. And I do wonder if the proliferation of horror stories, I'm sure there are some really awful experiences. But I think it's that same situation where we hear writers bitching about editors and assume that it's the editor's fault because we're hearing the writer's side of the story. I don't know. Anyway, this is my big in defense of editors episode.
Well, let's be honest. We've got the entire range of human ability
Yes.
working here, so you're going to get a good number who are doing exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Then you get the ones where you're reading it and it's like, holy shit, even the average reader knows that this is a bad no kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's typically, let's be honest, the ones who are going to blow up about it on Maine,
Yeah.
they've usually got something, at least some partial basis for that. They may be entirely off in how it gets applied.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's not for me to judge. But yeah, before I started this, I had read a number of authors who had various levels of complaints about a copy edit. Some were shading it in super polite language, and you can tell, oh my God, this person is seething. And
those are the worst ones, I think.
oh yeah. You can just hear the gritted teeth in the writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some divas out there. Let's be honest. We all know some. But in the end, so what? The job is the job is the job. And I understand being a diva about what you've written. I have had one thing copy edited ever. I wrote an article once and got the copy edits back, and what the fuck are you talking about here? No, stat, now. And this was from a professional copy editor who was an established professional copy editor. And once I got past that, don't touch my baby. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Makes sense.
Yeah. And to be fair, we all have the moment of how dare you imply that the application of that word 3 times in that paragraph was wrong. But I think what matters from a writer's perspective is what you do with that energy and whether you give it any oxygen or not. And then some people will hang on to that feeling too long, I think, is what we see. And then
my worst, most brutal edit that I got back was also the best. Like, she eviscerated me. Eviscerated my writing, eviscerated how I handled tense, POV, and everything. And it's tempting to go like, oh, what the fuck? Like, you're just mean. You just don't like me. But then I read it and I was like, shit, she's right
about all
of
it.
She literally taught me how to write books. Her edits. That was my first book. Yeah. Book 2 was Beyond Redemption, which landed at Harper Voyager. So clearly I learned something. And you can't do that when you're like, when you're precious about it.
Yes. Yep.
You know, had I sort of stuck to my guns, you know,
Stat.
Yeah. I never would have written book 2, you know, that second novel.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it was so vicious, but so accurate.
Yeah.
One of these days I'm hoping to
because she was right, and you weren't used to it, maybe.
Yeah, well, previous to that, you know, it's like my friends had read it and they're like, "Oh my God, you're a genius. You should write books."
Yeah.
I've seen entirely too many people have their beta reading list composed of their friends, people who know them personally, and that is dangerous. Unless your friends are dicks, in which case it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's hard to find someone who doesn't like you who's willing to read your book for you.
Well,
no, somebody likes you, but it's a dick.
Yeah,
I got that, and I feel like it gave me a step ahead in the game because I came into the community just like with just the right balance of confidence and lack of ego, I guess, because my earliest reader was my mother, and let me tell you, there's never been an opinion in that woman's head that didn't come out of her mouth in the rudest way possible. So I went through that for about, oh my God, maybe like 5 or 6 years of like, I'm gonna be a writer. How's this, Mom? Is it better yet? No, it's shit. So by the time I got to people who were nice and they were saying nice things about me, and then and also your character work is a mess. It's like, yeah, okay, I can work. So yeah, maybe the whole theory behind this is get eviscerated once early, get it out of the way, and then you're good.
I mean, that's a thing. I have tried very hard not to pull punches, but not to punch harder than necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say this makes no fucking sense. I'll
might
put
say
something
it,
in
but then you'll write something nicer.
Well, again, it depends on the relationship I have with the client.
Yeah.
There have been a few where I have said, dude, what the fuck? And that was the entire comment.
Right.
And they knew
then
what I was
author's
talking
like,
about.
Yeah,
But-
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm not quite sure I'm putting my finger on exactly what you're going for here. Possibly reword.
Yeah. Do you
that's-
tailor responses for the age group of the writer? Like, for the younger writers, you go with the shit sandwich where it's nice thing. Here's your shitty part. Oh, and here's a nice thing to finish it off with. So
I
you're
bet
not
it's
hurt
not
by the fact
age.
that I've
I
just
bet it's-
eviscerated you. Whereas the
I bet
older
it's
people like
not.
myself, I'm like, just tell me how I suck and tell me how to make it better. Like, I don't care about that. You don't need to say, oh, this sentence was really nice. Like, I don't give a fuck. Give me the bad shit.
To be honest,
curious.
I've found in this work that seems not to be age group related.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
what I thought.
It's a very individual thing. It's not
Mhm.
age, it's not ethnicity, it's not gender, it's not gender presentation. It's purely individual. And
Yeah.
it's something that you only find out after, which is why I tend to default to
You give him
maybe
one nice one
think
up
about
front. Yeah.
It's just the phrasing of the question instead of the what the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about. I'm not quite sure I can get a full grasp on your intent here.
Yeah. It's very diplomatic.
And it means the same thing. I mean,
It does,
one's
yeah.
going to invoke that fuck you, and the other
Well,
might
I
too.
mean,
But
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, I would have been surprised if you had said it was age, because I feel like Fletcher and I are kind of built similarly with regard to how we want our feedback, and there's a bit where
You actually
we're two
reacted really
separate
well to
generations.
the stuff
and
I sent you, and I was not pulling punches.
He was texting me at like 5 o'clock in the morning, like, this is shit. I just read like 6 chapters and I'm so annoyed, and the only reason I'm still reading is because your prose is good, but god damn it, you need to kill some of these idiots. And it's like, yeah, okay, fair point. I just let me get some coffee, Fletcher, and like, but it helped. That book's a lot better now because he did that. So
I heard someone describe it many years ago as whatever you're doing, you are stabbing the client. Are you going to be a mugger or are you going to be a surgeon?
Fletcher's a mugger.
Yeah, kind of a mugger. At least with people I
5
know,
a.m.
and
no less.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually
you know
like.
them, you know what they'll
Yeah.
take.
And sometimes I would watch you like type for a really long time, and then
Well, yeah,
nothing would
I was
come
just
through,
I was
and I'd be
texting her
like,
on,
oh yeah,
as I read the sort of that early draft. So she just got this sort of like live stream feed of whatever the fuck was going on in my brain at the time.
5 a.m.
Yeah, at 5 a.m.
Ow.
Yeah.
The hardest time. I haven't even had coffee yet, damn it.
Yeah.
Don't give me this.
Yeah. I think so. Anyway, that's to say, I would have been surprised if you had said it was an age thing, because
Yeah.
But
But you're an old soul.
Maybe. I'm almost as old as you are.
Listen, I'm an old fuck with a mental age of 12. So I get both ends of that. I'm the one who will sit there and go at the juvenile stuff. And you've got to have that inner 12-year-old to make sure you're not going to make that mistake in the text. I don't know how many times I said, look, my inner 12-year-old just snickered at this. You might want to reword that.
Nah, a good dick joke in a tense scene can really break up the flow, and just like it's an art form.
But you've got to be intentional about it.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
If it looks like it's just a serious dick joke, serious, it's going to feel like somebody screwed up the voice.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so. Not me.
But...
if it looks like a dick joke, it was every time.
It might have been intentional, but how is it going to come through to the reader? Is the reader going to say, all right, this lightens the mood nicely for the reader. I'm liking this. Or are they going to say, that stuck out well like a dick?
The Kindle has this really neat function where you can open a book and you can look at most highlighted sections, and it'll give you quotes that most of the readers have, or the highest quantity of highlights that you've gotten. And most of my most highlighted sections for Brick and Bone is all fucking David Kane swearing at people. I think the most annotated section in that book is David calling somebody a wank stain in the midst of a conversation. And I feel like that's well indicative of, I had a lot of things to say in that book about politics and, as you do. But Davik swearing at people is what's standing out, and I'm proud of it. God damn it!
Well, you should be. I agree. My patron saint is Roy Kent.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. That's a very good example of how swearing can really punctuate tension. And otherwise, a very emotionally sincere TV show. That's Ted Lasso, Fletcher. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how much I liked it after people were telling me it's just
so
super
nice.
positive and it's so nice, and he never cracks and gives into cynicism. And I was like,
yuck.
I'm right there with you. I fought seeing that for the longest time.
Yeah.
I finally gave in shortly before the second season came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Said, okay, this show ticks off every single damn box for checking not to watch.
Yeah.
It's a sports show. It's super positive. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Finally watched it. Said, how the hell did they pull that off? But they did.
Yeah. Roy Kent
was
is
awesome.
about Roy Kent and Jamie Tart are the balance in that show that makes the schmarmy positivity not so unbearable, but it tips it over into real genuine connection. It's really good. Brilliant writing.
Yeah.
Which is sort of what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of on topic.
And related, but I find myself hoping that there's not another season. It ended so perfectly. It's like, please don't fucking ruin this by bringing it back and milking it further. Just end it. Just be like, fuck, we did something good.
Let it go. Yeah.
Let it go.
My take on that was defaulting to agreeing and disagreeing only if the same writers and crew and everything are certain they can keep that same magic going.
Yeah, I think if there's something additional to actually say with it, it could be really good. And I think that's the difference between a really good sequel or, a cash cow, where a willingness to adjust the tone so that you can come back and say something intentionally rather than just aping the fan favorite moments.
Yeah, there has to be a plan.
Yeah, agree.
That's all it comes down to. There has to be a plan. It has to make sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why bother? Okay, I know why bother. Money, but
yeah, that old thing. Who needs that, right?
Yeah, right.
Certainly not us, not writers.
We just live off coffee and cigarettes. We're fine.
Two core food groups. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw an actual sort of a vaguely planned question at you.
You're going to use one of my questions.
I'm going to use one of your questions because I opened them up so I could see them. So this is Krystle's fault. Do you have a favorite part of the process? You already do this insane thing, which the rest of us hate because we don't know how to do it or understand the language we're writing in. What's your favorite part?
The part where I get to read science fiction and fantasy all day. I get paid. I get to tell other people where they messed up. I get listened to, and I get paid for this. That's my favorite part.
It's such a lawful good use of the well actually trait.
I'm stealing that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Please credit me, but you can have it because
I will absolutely credit you.
Fantastic.
Do you still read for fun? Like if you don't have an editing day, you're still like actually buying books and reading in the genre? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm jealous.
Well, it comes and goes. There are times every time I get up and I'm going outside for a little bit, I'm going to bring my e-reader with me. Then there are times I won't do any pleasure reading for a couple of weeks. But that's usually because I'm trying to avoid cross-pollination between the pleasure reading and the work reading. If there is something a little too much in common, it might be the same subgenre, might be the same kind of voice. I want to stay away from doing the pleasure reading to avoid screwing up in my work.
Somebody else's. Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I will sometimes take a couple of weeks to read a book. It used to be a one-day thing. But it varies. Yeah, I do still do that, and it's one of the few professions I know of that let you do a tax write-off of things you enjoy.
Yeah.
Seriously, buying science fiction and fantasy is a write-off for me.
That's awesome.
I just got the 3 new core rule books for Dungeons and Dragons, and they're a tax write-off. Yes! This is success!
Yeah. Living the dream. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And a moment to shout out to whoever you want. Who is or what is sort of, and it doesn't have to be something you edited, what's your sort of like favorite recent read?
Oh.
What kind of caught you where you went, shit, this is good?
On the spot. That's
now, are you talking about for pleasure read or work read?
Kind of either. Whatever sort of lands for you.
Okay, for pleasure read, that would have to be Sean McGuire's What If book. You're familiar with the concept of the Marvel What If series, right?
Yeah.
It's really what if such and such happened, which didn't happen in the continuity. Well, this one was what if Wanda Maximoff and Peter Parker were siblings? And it doesn't sound like much. And then she got into it, like, holy crap, that makes a lot of sense. And she leaned into Wanda's Roma heritage, which makes sense. And Shauna is Roma too. And did it in such a way that didn't sound pandering or too harsh. It was right down the pipe. But the storyline itself. And Doctor Strange is not a dick in this. No, he acts like a dick, but there's a reason. But yeah, but my favorite work read recently is going to sound like a cop-out, but it's usually whatever I've read most recently.
Yeah,
work-wise. But this time it was actually one of Glenn's. And the surprise core character is basically inspired by Martha Wells' Murderbot books.
Oh, cool.
And there's enough difference that it's not just file the serial numbers off and try to resell it over the county line. But it's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about Glenn's writing is the good guys are really good, but they're not the lawful, stupid paladin idiot.
Yeah.
That everybody hates. Oh, they're good. They're torn. They're anguished, and not in a drama emo kind of way. But no, there's real shit happening to them. There's real death. There are real consequences. But these people still try to do the right thing.
Yeah, they're genuinely. Yeah.
It seems, I don't know, super Canadian. No, it's.
One of my books are like that.
Americans always stabbing at us. Oh my god! So
gotta do it. Couldn't resist. But no, the concept of
I took that as a compliment, but you took it as an insult.
Yes.
That boils down the difference between the pair of us really well. Yeah.
Yeah, one of us is aware of what's going on, and the other is you.
Oh.
Ouch.
Ow.
Wow.
Okay. Hot in here.
All right.
Man. No, it's
I wasn't even
refreshing
mean
to
this
see.
time. Jeez.
I know, but it was there, and we have a reputation for being polite, so it's fun to fuck with that.
Oh yeah. Got to mess with the norms and expectations.
You got really meta on the entire joke, so I have to applaud the layers.
I look forward to speaking with Glenn. Hopefully next week.
You're able to get him on. Yeah.
We'll see what he says.
Somebody else on the Dripping Bucket next week, everybody needs to know that it's Fletcher's fault that we couldn't get Glenn.
Fair enough.
Dig. Tennis match here. I'm going to get the popcorn.
All right, we're hitting half an hour. This is probably a lovely spot to quit before Krystle says anything really mean.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll save it for later.
All right, Richard, thank you once again so much for joining us. It has been awesome to hang out with you for a couple episodes. This has been great.
Well, I appreciate this bullshit session. I mean, interview. Thank you.
I mean, we have to keep our reputation consistent, because if we ever ventured into like quality content, no one would recognize us. Exactly.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So we have to keep the bar low enough that we never have to try.
Yeah, every now and then we can peek our head over it and be like, "Oh, look, effort."
Oh,
okay.
Look, a guest that has intelligent things to say. Look at us.
Yeah, who was that?
That was you, but okay.
I mean, last week we just babbled, just the two of us, about nothing for like an entire...
Last week I accidentally doubled my medication, and I sounded like a meth head for 25 minutes. So that I apologize to everybody who sat through that.
Okay, I got to go look that up right now.
Oh, no.
That sounds fun.
It was a quick episode.
I felt bad by the end of it. Like, good God. Anyway, that goes live February 13th. So by the time this episode launches, our audience will have been subjected to it already. But in the real flow of time, Richard, you'll have to wait till tomorrow to see me humiliate myself on stimulants. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sorry time flows somewhat linearly.
Ew.
You're the physicist.
Who designed that?
Physicist guy. So if there's any cure for that, you're the one we got to talk to. So
not that I've heard.
Okay.
Massive drug
then you'll have to
use,
wait till
maybe.
tomorrow. Yeah, see, that's that. I tried that. It didn't go well for me, and now it's memorialized to the internet.
Well, the proper scientific method is to keep experimenting.
I'll remember that. And you have to document it too, right? Or else how do you know?
Yes. Then it's not real science.
We will document each one with an episode.
Wise.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard. That was genuinely a lot of fun. Yeah. And
I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, so if any of our listeners are looking for a copy editor, we like Richard. You should go hire him.
Give me a couple of months heads up first, so I tend to get booked.
Fine.
I've had 3 potential jobs blow up because I'm like, sorry, I'm booked. And that was just in the past couple of weeks.
So that's a comment in passing, but that is worth circling back very briefly just to say, publishing is weird, and if those of you who are listening and you are thinking about hiring a copy editor, be prepared to sit on the calendar for a while, because professional people, have deadlines.
So annoying that editors and artists have lives outside of doing my shit for me.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean you're not available tomorrow? The fuck?
Who do you think you are?
I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you
So
don't know if
inconsiderate.
you're ready yet for your copy edit, it is still actually time to start looking around for somebody with availability 3 to 6 months from now, because chances are, if you're thinking about it now, in 3 to 6 months, they'll be ready for you, and you'll probably be sick enough of your book to
Well, it's pretty much
give it to
any
Richard.
kind of freelancer, period. Doesn't
Yeah,
have to be an
yeah,
editor or artist, anything.
yeah,
If you got
it's true.
somebody who does this for a living and they're reasonably employed by doing this,
Yeah.
I
They have
mean,
a schedule.
they
Yeah,
they have a schedule. You know, they
be
have people
prepared
who book
to
things.
be prepared to enter the docket and wait and just be okay with it, and don't be a drama queen about it.
Yeah, just patience. That's all it
Yeah.
takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, believe it or not, even publishing houses screw up on that. I had one of
Oh.
those 3 that blew up. I'm not saying which publishing
Oh.
house. He
No,
said,
we're not
"Can you
saying.
start on this tomorrow?" No.
Are you kidding?
We've talked about this, but
Oh,
apparently
man.
something blew up, and okay, the blow up had to have happened a couple of months ago because nobody talked to
Yeah.
anybody, and
Yeah.
yeah. Planning.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, dear listener, hire Richard a couple of months from now. And thank you for coming. And thank you
for having
poor
me.
souls who listen to us every week for some reason.
Yeah, I personally apologize.
That's my job.
Sorry.
I'm the Canadian. Yeah. Okay, now.